Hey everyone, welcome back to the Team Super League. We've got our pair of winners here. We've got myself and Mike Sigrist here at 0-2. This is supposed to be the really salty commentary, so I'm really going to need you to dial up the anguish if you can.
Yeah, I guess I can do that. I think if it goes to 9, it's us two playing each other too, right?
Oh yeah. Well, for your sake, I hope that's not true, because I wouldn't want you to give too much satisfaction as you beat me very easily. Since, yeah, I've gotten demolished so far. My games against Hayne were pretty close, but at the very least, I didn't lose to a deck that looks like Ben's. That I'm thankful for.
Yeah, my deck is just a train wreck. I played one close game with Eric, the first game we played, but other than that, I've just gotten destroyed.
Yeah, I got mocked. I maneuvered a game I was losing into a point where if I draw any spell, I can win with 2 Spellweaver Kenras or Eternals, yeah. and drew Essence Scatter, which was pretty nice.
Oh, the daggers. Yeah, I just have a aggro deck with Hour of Devastation, so I'm playing.
Oh yeah, Hour looked real bad every time you drew it, so there is that.
Oh yeah, it was awful.
Like you get to pick up all your creatures, put them in the graveyard, and then your opponent gets to play the first thing, which is better than anything you could play, and sometimes one of their creatures survives.
Yeah, it's not good when you're not playing it, like when you're following it up with Grizzly Bears. It's not really.
Yeah, where you want to be.
And you have to use it to kill every creature because all your creatures are so bad.
So we have one thing going for us this round. Ben is the off-camera match, so we don't have to wait for him to set up Google Hangouts or Skype or anything. Me and Steve finished our match before Ben started his. So
I didn't even know that. I had no idea who would won or anything. I didn't even see anything in the chat.
Yeah.
It just ended and they're like, fire it off. I'm like, okay.
Oh, yeah. Steve demolished me pretty handily with Decimator Beetle game 1. And then game 2, actually, I thought I was winning. I was really far ahead. He had insult to injury off his Painted Bluffs to just deal 18 to me or something in one shot.
Yeah, just how we drew it up.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly.
Did he use Hope Tender to flash it back, too?
No, he had a mountain of Painted Bluffs and like 6 other lands or whatever, and so it was nonsense. Yeah, I will admit that. But we've got right now Eric against Steve. I don't know exactly what's in either of these players' decks. We'll take a look at deck lists here. Let me see.
This deck's really powerful, but it is basically straight 3 colors. So. I honestly thought Eric's deck was going to be better than it was, being the only white player.
Yeah, there's a million late Mummy Paramounts and all these things just going around over and over.
Yeah, Eric's deck bad,
but Eric's deck looks solid.
Yeah, no, his deck is good. I just thought it was going to be like a 10 out of 10. It's only like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
it
Steve's
looked worse to me than he actually didn't even draw that well against me. He didn't draw any of his like good uncommons, whatever, other than Desert Soul. He didn't draw Sand Strangler or any of that stuff.
Steve's deck looks solid. I think that he's got a good amount of removal, even though some of his creatures are a little suspect. But overall, his deck actually looks fine. I mean, yeah, no, it's 3 colors, but what can you do?
Yeah, it's 3 colors. His creatures aren't great, and he's got a high quality spells at least. So
yeah, he's got
should be interesting. I think
7 good removal spells.
I think Eric's deck's a little better on paper, but I think Steve's deck might match up well against it, assuming he can draw lands.
Also, Eric's a little better on paper. Also not on paper, but past that. And the winner of this match advances to 3-2. So we've got a lot of matches left, at the very least 3, before we're going to crown a champion of the top 4, which then makes the finals. So
whoever wins this is going to win. Come on.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's PGO against Madison in the other bracket. Yeah, I agree with that. I've drafted with Owen a lot.
Who would you rather play in the finals?
I'd rather play PGO in the finals.
I would rather play Madison because they beat us twice in the same Grand Prix on day 1 and day 2 of this, and they beat us in this. So I really want vengeance. But
yeah, that makes sense.
Here in the.
So how did your Magic go? I did not catch up to how it exactly finished.
Ben played a bunch of 2/4s, I guess, and I couldn't attack through them because all I have is 2/2s, and then I had Hour of Devastation like 3 for 3, and I don't know. It was just all bad. Like his deck isn't great, but his creature side were lined up very well against mine. So there's nothing I could do. There was nothing interesting. He just played a creature I couldn't attack, etc.
Well, that's an interesting conclusion of your match, but I was wondering how your year of Magic went. Like, how
my year went? Oh, yes. You said how my match went. I ended up like low 40s in points. Nothing.
The cursed land where it's like more than enough for gold, but not enough for platinum.
Yeah. It was my worst year in the last 3. That's for sure. Looking forward to.
Well, one of those years you won Player of the Year, so that's not like too big.
Yeah. Things have to even out in the end, I guess.
Yeah. So, as they're talking about in chat, apparently Ben only passed Insult to Injury because he thought Steve couldn't play it, but that certainly wasn't true.
Who passed him Sand Strangler? Was that you?
Yes.
Was that the same reason?
I thought he wasn't going to be able to play Sand Strangler. Both.
Yeah. I mean,
because
shouldn't be. I know he only has one
because I didn't think he was red, and because I didn't think he was going to have a lot of deserts, even if he was. I aggressively take deserts. I actually have 3, where most people are pretty short on them.
You look like well, actually, Eric had a bunch too. I didn't even see the Sand Strangler in his deck, but you get all the chaos. All right, looks like we're going to be heading down in a second.
Alrighty. We're going to have a pretty good match here. Let's see if the players are indeed ready. All right, looks like the players are ready. Let's head down for Eric Froehlich against Steve Rubin. Alrighty, welcome to round 3 of the Team Draft Super League. We've got Steve Rubin on top with 2 lucky wins for his team, and then Eric Froehlich on the bottom with 2 very hard wins for that team. And you can see Steve's deck's a bit of a little mountain forest double black card here.
Yeah, this is He's drawn his only mountain, so hopefully he runs off a couple swamps here. He's got a reasonable curve of creatures. He just doesn't have lands to cast them. Eric's hand's a little slow, but if he can really punish Steve if he doesn't pick up lands in the next couple turns.
Eric drawing 2 lands in a row is pretty bad for him, but he does have Rumming Up Ruins, which at least is decent. He really needs to hit a 3 and a 4. His 5 is great, and Steve is missing land drops, which really sucks. I was hoping for just good clean magic here. But if Steve misses 2 more land drops, Eric might just get him with that Manticore Eternal.
Yep. Steve can't cast any spells, so he chooses to go back to Kenra, which I like. He wants to play a longer game when he has 6 spells in his hand. I'd be eager to trade here.
So by trading there, Eric's indicating he's got no zombies in hand and none coming anytime soon, which is in fact the truth.
Well, the Manticore is a zombie, and then the Unwavering Initiate could be a zombie. So,
yeah.
But yeah.
But Eric also, I think, then of course now he draws a zombie. Is respecting the fact that Steve has like Lethal Sting in his deck, and he wants to close that off.
Steve wisely takes the damage with Ambuscade in his hand.
It wasn't that wise. It's like just kind of obvious, actually.
So Steve draws a swamp, which
the best draw in his deck, which is kind of lines up with how our match went.
He's going to play a Quarry Hauler. It's interesting.
So all the creatures on board just trade off. I mean, the Mummy Paramount can't attack. Everything else is just mono trades. And it's actually not working out great for Eric because he drew another land here. And as we know from many years of experience, Mana Screw always beats Mana Flood if you draw out of it. Like, if as soon as you draw one land, the floodgates open or shut, as it were. And Eric's going to need a top deck, like probably 3 spells in the next 4 turns or something along those lines.
Yeah, especially Eric's deck doesn't really have that many mana sinks. He's got this Initiate that he can bring back and stuff like that. But Steve has Resilient Kenry in the graveyard. It's higher end creatures in general, though Eric does have his 5-drop here.
So now, if you're Steve, are you looking to trade for this Unwavering Initiate? Like, you already have an ambuscade target regardless.
I don't think so, but I don't hate it because it's just what's going to end up happening is that. But he also does have Kenra Eternal in his hand, which is better. But I guess the Kenra Eternal can just trade for the back half, so yeah, I don't mind the trade here as long as he leaves 1 creature in play for ambuscade. This is a interesting play from Eric here, choosing not to play the Manticore, but it's a pretty good play because it trades straight up for Quarry Hauler.
If he was going to flash back the Initiate, I think I like attacking Mummy Paramount there. So
yeah, absolutely.
Uh-oh, sounds like a Locust God is happening.
Oh, I like that. I know someone on my team has. I don't think Ben has that.
Oh, no. We're not a team of opening gods or anything like that. I don't think I first picked a rare in the entire TDSL.
You opened a Glorybringer in the first one. I remember that. So,
I mean, besides that. So, Steve leaving up Ambuscade or cycling of Stir the Sands.
Yeah,
here.
I think he's looking to cycle the Stir and trade it off for the Unwavering Initiate here.
And then take only 3. This is going pretty well for Steve. I think the advantage bar is in his favor. Drawing that swamp was pretty close. Like, for Steve to lose this, he has to draw not swamps and also bad spells.
Yeah.
Or just so like 5 land in a row, which is kind of unlikely.
Every card in Eric's deck is basically like at best a 3/3 creature. Like his best draw is Sand Strangler at this point, I think, or Wing Shepherd or something. If I'm Steve here, I'm probably going to trade for the Initiate, Ambuscade the Manticore. And then you could just follow up with either Stir the Sands or Kenra Eternal, depending on what you draw, or hopefully Decimator Beetle. But
the other option is to cycle Stir and trade it for the Initiate, but then you end up taking being locked into casting Ambuscade next turn. And if this way, if Steve draws land, he can just slam the Decimator Beetle. He's obviously going to draw land.
And he has a huge end. Wow. He also gets the option of casting Stir the Sands later in the event he draws a swamp, which he was obviously going to do.
Well, it looks like we're not going to have to play our match at the very least.
Ooh, we can only hope. It's a decent draw for Eric, but it's not quite enough.
It's good. I mean, it's among his better draws, but he's going to need, he needs Steve to, again, miss probably 3 times, which that Torment of Venom was not. And then Eric needs to hit all spells. So the advantage board is hugely in Steve's favor at this point.
Yeah, if I'm Steve, I'm going to just attack, put the counter probably on the, I guess I can't decide if I want to put it on the Camel or the Elite, and because I'm gonna definitely cast Torment of Venom this turn, I think. Yeah,
you would torment whichever one you don't want to shrink.
Yeah,
and shrinking the Elite.
The question is, do we want him to gain? Do we want our opponent to gain life here? I guess it's not a really big deal. The Camel hits a little harder if he doesn't exert, but I think either play is fine. I would probably lean towards just shrinking the Talkrop Elite, but
yeah, that is my inclination as well because of the life swing from the Camel is a bit more.
Also, he gets to kind of bait Eric into potentially double blocking with the Camel and the Mummy, in which case the Torment gets even better. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen. I don't think Eric's going to fall for that, but it is a small upside. Steve's really in the tank about it.
It's so brutal when you're watching Steve be in the tank. He's just 100% to win this game, but he's just trying to figure out the right play, and which is reasonable. But it's just you could just win this game.
So Eric's best draw, I think, is Desert's Hold. Am I correct?
That'll lock down the Decimator Beetle, gain him 3. Then Eric kind of still behind in terms of attackers, also just isn't going to be beating Stir the Sand. So
yeah, his best chance even at that point is to just get him low enough that maybe he can Remy Map ruins him out, I guess. But I don't really think that's going to happen.
So it looks like Steve is shrinking the Camel with the plan of Oh. Oh, this is... Well, that was going to work out very poorly. All right. So Steve goes against the wisdom of his elders, namely me and you, and is drinking the camel instead of the Talkrop Elite. I think if I'm Eric, I'm likely discarding this land.
Yeah, for sure. Again, his deck doesn't have any way to use excess lands anyway, so he may as well discard one to gain 3 life.
Okay, so Eric can attack for 4. Mighty Leap at least is the kind of card that can steal games, but Eric needs to be at a, or Steve needs to be at a lot lower life for that to be the case.
Yeah.
Like between Ramanop Ruins and Mighty Leap, like Eric could get something going. He's probably not going to, but he could.
Yeah, if I'm Steve, I'm just attacking, killing the camel. And then probably I might just pass. Weave up Tormented Venom and Cycle Stir the Sands. But I could also see I think that's what I would do. Just pass.
Yeah, you're in a spot where because you have the Kenra in your graveyard, even if you draw lands, you just already have a 6, so you don't really need to keep Stir the Sands.
I forgot about the Kenra, but yeah, that's...
I didn't know.
Any 6 lands really good here.
Yeah, and it looks like Alex wins 2-0, so we're not super likely to get to play here.
Well, we still got the last 2 games of this one. So.
It is true. Hopefully there are 2 games.
All right. So I don't think Steve has that many options. Let's see if Eric has anything interesting here. Not really. I could see bringing in the Seraph if he thinks the match is going to be slow, which Steve's deck it kind of is. It is good against a lot of his removal.
Yeah, the game would have to go pretty long for that, but it's not actually even that good against Tormented Venom is the problem. It does
just make it a 1/1, but still. I don't really know. Probably the only card I would consider bringing in for Eric. Steve's just doesn't really have anything. I think he took out the Berserker. I think, or maybe he just didn't play it. Oh, he put in Wretched Camel, I think.
Steve splashing Magmaroth? That's fair. I lost to this deck.
That was my suggestion.
Yeah. Eric's got
his creature quality is so bad.
Ooh, is he looking at Manglehorn for that Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs? That could be some technology.
He could be.
I mean, Manglehorn still trades for like Unwavering Initiate, just like Sidewinder Naga, though it's a little worse against like Mummy Paramount, I suppose.
If Eric had anything else, I'd definitely consider it, but I don't really think it doesn't trade with enough creatures. That's the issue. Like it doesn't trade with like 3/3 for 3. It doesn't trade with a Mummy when it's pumped.
Yeah. The thing I like least about Steve's sideboarding is how long he's taking. Like, it's more than 10 seconds to sideboard, honestly.
He's probably going over Eric's list to make sure like Blazing Volley isn't good. That's why he was touching on the Manglehorn or whatever. He probably was looking at the list and saw the wall and was thinking about it, seeing if there's anything bad, and just being very deliberate with it.
Yeah, I guess looking at your opponent's deck list is something you're allowed to do.
Yeah. What's with the swamp? What is he doing?
He's your teammate.
Yeah, he's just got that recency bias thing going on where he didn't draw a swamp for a few turns, won easily anyways, and he's thinking about adding an extra swamp to his deck.
Yeah, some people are very susceptible to that. Very keepable hand for Eric, but if he doesn't draw a 2-drop, then I think we're in trouble.
Yeah, Steve has a really good curve.
Yeah, Steve's draws
Eric's is a little more on the top end. I assume he's going to cycle Winged Shepherd. If he did last game, I would assume he would do it again this game to try to find a 2-drop. And there's that Magmaroth.
Oh yeah. Not embarrassing at all, Magmaroth. That's cool.
Right, this reasonable draws from Eric.
Powerful cards. it just feels like because Eric has lower card quality in his deck, when he doesn't have a 2-drop, especially when Steve
does, he really needs to snowball.
It just favors
when that's the scenario.
Yeah.
Play a 3-2.
On the other hand, if Steve keeps drawing cards like Magmaroth and Kenra Eternal, then that could give Eric a chance. Like, those cards aren't good, and Steve can't even cast one of them.
So, would you play 2-2-drops here?
That would be my inclination, yes.
I think so, yeah.
Dauntless Haven. This actually could be okay for Eric. His creatures are kind of powerful, and Steve only has one removal spell.
Yeah, he's got a good mix of creatures. I'm not sure how I may have just played the Vizier, but
because like now if Steve blocks with a Kenra Eternal, like that's pretty bad for Eric. Steve didn't block there.
Yeah, I don't
understand what this player did. Maybe Steve was worried about Kindled Fury, but trading Kenra Eternal for a magic card is usually like pretty good.
Yeah, I would have snap blocked with the Kenra Eternal there. I guess he wants to be the aggressor. So he's going to ambuscade, attack, and then probably play his stalwart.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think Steve just thinks he's the beatdown in this game.
Because he has the Magmaroth in hand?
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to save that supernatural stamina so he can remove a -1/-1 counter from Magmaroth?
He can remove them all if he plays his cards right.
Eric really actually wanted to draw Rummin-Up Ruins that turn to power up his camel.
Yeah, that would have been great. So this is turn. Okay, so he does get to play a 5-drop this turn. Interesting to see if he attacks with the camel or not.
Yeah, now that he's a little behind, the problem is supernatural stamina is going to be quite good here.
Yeah. I assume he's just going to play the Manticore or Eternal. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe that's better because it keeps both of his creatures as big as possible.
Yeah, it blocks effectively this turn, and he can attack with the other thing and dump counters on it and still block all the creatures on board.
Steve is flooding out, so there is a little bit of justice in the world, but he's still going to get decent attacks here. I guess what's going to happen here most likely is both of Eric's creatures die, Steve loses a supernatural stamina and a creature, and is left with 2 creatures, and then Eric plays Manticore of the Gauntlet, and it's pretty large. Manticore.
I don't like Steve's spot this game.
Yeah, I actually think Eric is now slightly ahead. But Steve has tons of cards which just turn that around. Like, he could draw Insult to Injury.
Yeah, well... Traveler's Amulet is the card I'm looking for, I guess.
If you're going to ask for Traveler's Amulet, just ask for him. I guess it's slightly better than Mountain at this point.
Yeah.
So what'll be important here is, Eric wants to take out the 3 toughness creature, or 3 power creature. So now next turn, Manticore of the Gauntlet can block everything except an exerted Stalwart.
Yeah.
Though if Eric draws land, he could also just... Yeah.
If Steve's able to draw like a Torment of Venom now...
that almost just ends the game.
Yeah, he's going to... Yeah.
We just need Steve to brick 1 turn here. Okay. So now he exerts the Ronas' Stalwart, but Eric, I think, could just pretty confidently take 3, play a Dauntless Avon, and then probably even attack at this point? I don't know. That Magmaroth's literally costing Steve the game. If it was any card Magic, he would have been able to win already.
Yeah, if it was just a Sidewinder thing like his other 3/2, it would probably be enough for this game.
A 1-mana 1/1, no text. I mean, I don't want to make fun of him too much or harp on it, but the Magmaroth is bad. Eric's just going to go full aggressive. He's going
to play both his creatures.
He just doesn't need to worry too much about Steve having extra damage out of nowhere. So Eric can just trade off for the Hope Tender here, take 2, go to 5, and then threaten not quite lethal but close. Is he just going to double trade here? Interesting.
Yeah, that's, well, I'm going to say that's pretty weak to Steve just drawing a Torment, right?
Torment would be really problematic for Eric anyway, because he has like almost nothing to discard or sacrifice.
Yeah. That is true, but the game would basically just end at that point. And it would give him more time.
So Eric, it's just to draw a spell that costs 3 or less. Well, Steve has a chance now.
Yep. So I suspect...
Attack with both on tap.
Yeah, attack with both on tap, the Manticore, and then open fire the Stalwart, I think.
Eric could wait on the open fire. The thing is, if Steve draws Ambuscade, he's not putting it on his best creature, and if he draws this, okay.
Does Steve have 1 or 2 Ambuscades? I thought he only had 1. I'm not sure at all, but
actually, take a look at Steve's deck list. He's got 1 Ambuscade, 1 Supernatural Stamina. Okay, so Steve doesn't have a whole lot of tricks, so
there's not that much reason.
Looking at the
there is a Cartouche though. There's a Cartouche of Ambition that.
So waiting is actually just better than for open.
Yeah, it's definitely better.
Unless Steve sided in something like Without Weakness, which technically he could.
Yeah. So Steve's deciding if he wants to block here. Is that where we are?
Jump here is not great, I don't think.
Oh no, it's bad. Unless there's a card I don't know about that could deal him 4.
But I think Eric's happy with that.
Oof.
Gross. So now this is actually still a very close game. Eric keeping that mountain.
Well, it's game as Steve exerts, right? Oh no, he's got the open fire. So yeah, now it is a close game because of that jump block.
Eric falls to 3, but it's 3 versus 8, but they both have a creature. Eric has the first draw step. Steve's got a Magmaroth, so lands aren't just dead. So
yeah, Steve will exert that Magmaroth.
All right. If there's any justice, Eric will just draw like something large.
Ooh, that's a good draw.
All right. That is decent. It's not insane, but it is good.
If there's any justice, Steve will just draw the other Tormented Venom.
Steve's not in a bad spot in that all of his spells are live, and all of except for Insult to Injury, and some of his lands are live.
And Sand Strangler.
Ugh. That's not just game, but it's really close to game because now Eric has to discard the Vizier.
He has to discard his creature, then he goes down to 1, and then he's facing down an afflict creature, so he has to draw a removal spell.
Well, that was gross. Just 2 Tormented Venoms in a row. No big deal. The good thing is Eric's probably not.
They come in herds or whatever.
All right. 4-2. We're on our last life here, and it's in Venice's hands. All right. Well,
it's you and you playing.
No, it's Ben playing Hane. Oh no, Ben already played Hane. So, Ben, Steve, and then we'll see if.
Yeah. It's one at a time.
Steve, and then Ifro can defeat Hane. That's being you. But until then, we'll be back in just a few minutes with round 4 of the Team Draft Super League.
Looking for a challenge? Magic Online